So bird dogs, your next exercise on the list. But this one, it really works on your hips and your lower back. Like I said, this is a full upper body day, so we want to work on your lower back as well. Come in this position. I don't want no dips, no ass in the air, right? I don't want no cat back. Everyone hates cat back. So work on a very neutral posture. Neutral as I mean don't have any posterior or anterior flex. So for a bird dog, basically you're going to go right to the left, right? So you're going to work opposite sides just like your arm walkouts. That's what the key is. Your arm walkouts works that angle because that's a neutral, that's a natural motion of the body. That's how we work, right? So for these, everyone thinks that you got to go like really quick, right, with it. But the fact is that you get better control and better flex by going slower. So what you want to do is when you come out and you want to hold for just a second, right? You want to go slow and hold for just a second. Keep your head down to the ground. It's going to help. Flex your core if you have to and bring it out. Now don't go like that. Don't go like that. You want to keep it neutral. Keep it neutral. And if you feel like it's not neutral, move your hips with it. So move your hips down just a little bit, right? So if you feel like it's not neutral, just move your hips down just a tad and then do it. And by loading your hips, you take some of that anterior or posterior flex of your lower back and you put it into your hips instead. Bird dogs, very key on working control of your hips and your lower back. It'll really help a lot of your push-up dilemmas. Next one, we're going to go into abs. So a suitcase crunch. I'm going to do a suitcase crunch with a weight because that's the best way to do it. But for you, you don't have to. Suitcase crunch. Essentially, you have two variations. For you, I want you to work on this. I want you to work on your hips. I want you to work on rolling those up, right? So if I did a suitcase crunch bad, the wrong way, my hips would be down here. And you have space here, right? But I want my hips up. I want my hips up into it. So there's no space there for my lower back because we're working on abs, not our lower back. Head down, flat back, hips up, out, and then in. Out, in. Out, in. Now if you get too tired, if you start pulling your lower back, what I want you to do is only go halfway, right? So I'm not going full down on my legs there because I don't want to pull my lower back out. So this is a full lower ab to middle range ab exercise. Now if you get too tired, you can start doing just the dumbbell. So hold your hips and just go like this. If you can't do any legs, if you can't do any extension without pulling your lower back out, just work on this side of the suitcase. Work on the upper suitcase. Because this is still working your abs. I'm still holding the hips, right? I'm still working that ab. And I'm flexing the whole time. I'm flexing my hips up. I'm flexing this all up, right? This is all one flex. So that's a suitcase crunch. And you have two variations there in case you get tired, which is excellent for abs. Because the only way you're going to get rid of that tummy is if you can continue the contractions. Abs respond and core respond well with low rest times and holding contractions. So you're better off doing form and lower reps than wasting time. Because your abs just want good form and holding of that flex. They want to flex the whole time. So we're going to go into leg raises, which is another lower back one. If you have a hard time with your hips, this one's nice because you can put your hands underneath. And this is going to force your hips up and away from your lower back. And you can lift your head up on this one too. That's okay, right? So my hands are underneath my butt, keeping my hips up and my head's up as well, allowing more for the lower ab. So all I'm doing is coming down, coming up, going down, and up. A lot of people like to do this. No, that's using your lower back. Work it up on just a nice flat angle is down as far as you can, and just keep it up. Just keep it up. That's all you gotta do. Don't do your lower back. Don't do anything but the lower ab on this one.
If that gets hard, she can keep her head down, right?
Yes, so you can do this with your head down, and you can do this without the hands behind your back. I can do it, but some people can't. They have to have the control. So you work on your hips, see how my back is flat, so I'm forcing my hips up, and then go up with it. So that's a lot harder.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot harder.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't know, but yeah, it's a lot more difficult on that one. So the next one's leg paddles. Basically a variation of the leg raise. All we're doing instead of raising our legs is we're going to paddle them. Come into it and just paddle. That's all we're doing. Just like we're wiggling our feet. Right? Hands underneath the butt to raise the hips up. Head up to force it into your lower ab. You can go here if you want. But if you go here and you can't hold the control, if you can't hold the form, by lowering your head, you start working your upper ab, which is not what you want with leg paddles, because then it starts using your lower back because you're not using your lower ab. Next one, we're going to go into dead bugs. This is my favorite. I think these are hilarious. Working on the same thing, the hip control. All your lower ab exercises, you want to work on hip control. So raise it up again. Knees 90, arms up, just like this, just like a suitcase crunch. We're in the same form, except we're going to be working on that angle. Right? Go down and slow. Slow. Hold that form. Now, if you can hear it, my hip's going to pop. Right? That's normal. That's because my hips tight. My hips are tight. Right? I don't have a lot of flexibility. My hips are tight. That's fine. That means that's a good thing that your hip's popping. That means you're working that rotation. You're keeping the weight off of your lower back and into your hips. And that's exactly where you want it. If my hip wasn't popping, there'd probably be something wrong. Right? Keep that flex out and bring it in. Go slow because you're going to get more of a contraction. Plank. Planks are pretty standard. Everyone knows planks. But do you know how to do good form with a plank? Probably not. So, you want your elbows down here. You want your elbows parallel with your shoulders. Right? So you want to go down, feet together, and then set. Right? So you go from here into a set position. You can keep your head up. Sometimes that helps people. Sometimes it doesn't. Right? So if you feel like you're dipping, right, stop. Planks are all about form. If you feel like you're going to dip, if you feel like you have to lift up out of that flat posture, out of that perfect sweet spot, you stop it. You stop your plank. You reset. If you feel like your arms are tired, maybe you need to lean back more. Maybe you need to get your elbows underneath your shoulders. Or maybe the reverse. Maybe you got to get your shoulders on top of your elbows. You're too far back. So planks are all about form. If you lose the contraction, if you lose that form, reset, because you're not going to work anything but the wrong muscles. Side planks, same thing, except you're going to go to the side, one arm down, shoulder to elbow, just like a regular plank. Feet out. Keep them bent until you come up. Keep it at a straight angle, up. Just like that. See how I have my knees bent, and then I lift it up so my knees become extended out, putting all of the weight right here, right above the hip. If you're going to dip, all you have to do, lift your hip up. By lifting your hip up, you force the weight up here, right? And you keep that flex, keep that form. Now if you're moving like this, key is hand, come behind. If you're moving too much on the chest, put your hand down here. And that's going to lift off the weight just a little bit off your chest so that you can keep that form. Same thing with the plank. If you have any issues, just stop. So, and reset. That's all. That's all I got. That's a Monday routine. If you have any questions, just email me.